Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. Your host, Robert. Impact Wrestling Slammiversary puzzle game. So a few years ago, I had done SummerSlam and WrestleMania this way. Basically, I've seen this online. You picked a show, I had to pick Slammiversary. You had three simple rules. You had to use a match from each show, no pre-show matches. You could only use a wrestler one time. And every title that was defended on the main card had to be used. Alright, so by following those three simple rules for Impact Wrestling Slammiversary, we had the NWA World Heavyweight Championship with 10 pounds of gold that TNA did use between July of 2002 and May of 2007. We had the NWA World Tag Titles that TNA used from June of 2002 through May of 2007. We had the TNA World Heavyweight title, which was created in May of 2007. They currently use it today as the Impact World title. We had the TNA Impact Wrestling World Tag Titles from May of 2007 to current. We had the TNA X Division title. Now, the X Division title was named the TNA-NWA X Division title. And then they just changed it to the TNA X Division title and then on Impact. And that began in June of 2002 to current. And then we had the TNA Impact Knockout Women's Championship. They began in October of 2007. The Knockout Tag titles have never been defended at Slammiversary. They had what was that title? They had a random title. What was it called? I don't even remember the name of it. It was like 3-minute rounds and something weird. It was never defended at Slammiversary, but now the Legends title, which became the global title, which became the television title, which became the King of the Mountain title. You know, that random red belt that Booker T pulled out of a bag one day. That was only defended one time at Slammiversary, known as the King of the Mountain title. It began its life, the Legends title, in October of 2008 for the Main Event Mafia. And it ended its life as King of the Mountain title August of 2016 when Jeff Jarrett left Impact Wrestling, or Global Force Wrestling at the time. So when they used a match from each show. Now, 2003 and 2004, it was just the anniversary show. In 2005, it became Slammiversary. They used a match from each card, only used each wrestler one time, and used all those titles. So in 2003, I used the NWA World Tag Titles. We had champion Triple X, which was Christopher Daniels and Ellie Skipper, versus America's Most Wanted, which was Chris Harris and James Storm. Triple X got the victory. I give it a 3-star. In 2004, I used Jerry Lynn versus Scott D'Amore, the same Scott D'Amore that's currently the general manager of Impact Wrestling. Pretty good wrestler in his day. A few matches that he had. This match against Jerry Lynn got the victory. I give it 3.25. Now, through this, I've watched every match in Slammiversary history. In 2005, we had the NWA World Heavyweight title on at 10 pounds of gold. In a King of the Mountain match, we had champion the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Raven versus Abyss versus Monty Brown versus Sean Waltman, X-Pac. Raven ended up getting the victory here. I give it 3.25. Now, some of these matches aren't great because I had to use each title and I could only do one match per card. I had to use each person one time. I chose to use the phenomenal AJ Styles here because the NWA World title was only able to be used from 2003 through 2006, and I think in 2003 it wasn't even defended. I wanted to use AJ versus Kurt from the 2008 show that I was there live, but I had to have AJ here. So now in 2006, I used Kevin Nash versus Chris Sabin. Kevin Nash got the victory in a 2.25-star match. In 2007, I used the TNA World Tag Titles, currently Impact Tag Titles. Champion Team 3D, Brother Ray, Brother Devon, versus Rick Steiner and Road Warrior Animal. The Team 3D got the victory in 2.25-star. 2008, again, I was there live and right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. First match of the card. The main show was for the X Division title. We had champion Petey Williams versus Freak Kazarian. I remember watching this match in the arena, and I think Petey hit something big. No, Kaz hit something big. I think Kaz had his finisher or something. The entire arena jumped up. I'm like, hey, it's only been 10 minutes. This match ain't over yet. I just stayed sitting. Nope, he kicked out. And then when Petey hit the Canadian Destroyer, I'm like, hey, crazy, Petey wins. So 3.5 star on that one for PD's retain of the X title. I was there with J-Man. Now in 2009, I used the TNA Knockout Championship. We had champion Angelina Love versus Tara. Angelina Love getting the victory in 1.5 star. Like I said, there's some matches that weren't good. Now in 2010, yeah, the Blueprint Matt Morgan versus Hernandez. Yeah, I thought Matt Morgan was going to be something good. I was wrong. At least 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I said MJF, Maxwell, Jacob Freeman will be something, I end up being right. Still tell J-Man that I was right about that. And he was like, yeah, dude, you were right. But Matt Morgan got the victory there by disqualification, 0.5 star. 2011, Crimson versus Samoa Joe. Crimson getting the victory, 1.75 star. 2012, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy. Wrong company. Mr. Anderson versus Jeff Hardy. He wasn't high here, I don't think. Versus Rob Van Dam. Yeah. Too easy. Mr. Anderson getting the victory in a 3-star match. 2013, Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim. Great women's match. Taryn Terrell getting the victory in 3.5 star. 2014, Austin Aries versus Kenny King. Austin Aries getting the victory, 3.25 star. Now, in 2015, I used the TNA King of the Mountain title in a King of the Mountain match. This is for the inaugural champion. Jeff Jarrett versus Bobby Roode versus Matt Hardy versus Eric Young versus Drew Galloway. Yes, the same Drew Galloway that was Drew McIntyre. This is when he actually changed from the future when he was Drew McIntyre before. He went to TNA, to some other indie companies, became Drew Galloway, black hair, the little heel persona. That's the Drew McIntyre that we know today. Jeff Jarrett getting the victory here in a 3-star match. 2016, I used Ethan Carter III, EC3, versus Mike Bennett. EC3 getting the victory, 2.75 star. Now, 2017. This is when TNA changed to Global Force Wrestling. This is when Jeff Jarrett brought his Global Force company that he created and merged with TNA when he was trying to take ownership back from Dixie Carter, and everything was going on financially with TNA at the time. Well, that kind of blew up like a month later after they changed the name to Global Force. Jeff ended up leaving disgruntledly, took the name with him. They couldn't really go back to TNA because there was some bad mojo there, some financial stuff. They ended up changing the name to Impact Wrestling. So in 2017, it was Global Force Wrestling for Slammiversary. We had D'Angelo Williams and Moose versus Chris Adonis and Eli Drake. D'Angelo Williams, yes, the D'Angelo Williams that been running back for the Carolina Panthers. Him and Moose won this match, 2.75 star match. 2018, Tessa Blanchard versus Allie, 3-star match. Great match. Tessa Blanchard getting the victory. 2019, Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Title Line Champion Brian Cage the Machine versus the Unbreakable Michael Elgin. A phenomenal match. If you get a chance, go watch this. Brian Cage got the victory. I gave it 4. I thought it was a great match. And then 2020, I used the women's #1 contender match to knockout title, Gauntlet for the Gold. We had Kylie Ray, Alicia Edwards, Havoc, Kara Hogan, Nevaeh, Madison Rayne, Rosemary, Susie, Tasha Steelz, Tyler Valkyrie. Now, again, it's a gauntlet match, so one come in, elimination, the next one comes in. Johnny Bravo came in dressed as Rosemary, got eliminated. Came back later dressed as Tyler Valkyrie, got eliminated. It came down to Kylie Ray, Tyler Valkyrie, and Kylie Ray ended up getting the victory. So that is the TNA Impact Wrestling Slammiversary puzzle game. Definitely check back on our Sports Show. I did the same thing for SummerSlam. And if you go back down in the description, there's a website there. What is it? Rob Sports Show /web. Wix.com or something. That's actually a site that I have, kind of a blog site. You can go on there and you can search for the SummerSlam ones on there as well. And I think I did another one on there too. I think WrestleMania's on there somewhere. But yeah, some other puzzle games. I'm going to try to do it for SummerSlam this year again. And then maybe WrestleMania and some other one, whatever I can do it for. I thought it was kind of cool I was able to do it for this one. But definitely stay tuned to Rubber Sports Show for a best of Slammiversary, best of Money in the Bank, previews for both, and then also a preview for your Warrior Wrestling Stadium Series. If you check out, on Rubber Sports Show here, I did I think yesterday, the last video before this one, which was Warrior Wrestling History and Best of. It's one of the independent companies that I follow. Great young talent there. Some veterans, some guys you'll know, like Brian Cage goes there. This year they have Davey Richards versus Jonathan Gresham at the show on Saturday. Jordan Oliver, Lee Moriarty, a couple indie guys that I follow. So definitely check out the best of, and then check out the preview. And then sometime over the weekend, maybe next week, I'll have reviews of SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, and Warrior Wrestling. And then next week, I'll probably do a best of Game Changer Wrestling. So definitely look out for all that. And if you're a AEW fan and you checked out Dark, RSP was on Dark. Ricky Shane Page. He is a former Game Changer Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He is kind of one of the deathmatch wrestling guys like Nick Gage. Definitely check that out. I was really hoping the crowd would start a chant for him, but they didn't. But yeah. But thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.